What you manifest in your mind, you can bring to reality.
Stephen Brody Stevens, a one-of-a-kind comedian from L.A., passed away a few days ago, and it's just one of the many tragedies that come from depression. We have a real problem with depression in this country, and Brody's was very outspoken in his battle with depression and anxiety and being bipolar and being on medication and off medication and being institutionalized. You can watch his show, Enjoy It, which is, I think, a web series that got turned into a Comedy Central show produced by Zach Galifianakis. It's kind of a reality show focusing around Brody Stevens. It taps into an incident he had where he was off his meds and kind of went a little haywire and went a little nuts on Twitter, and was kind of one of those things where a lot of people in the comedy community really pulled together and showed how much they really care about Brody. And you're seeing that now that he's passed away. Just such a tragic moment. I got to meet Brody Stevens and see him do stand-up only once. It was at the Ice House in Pasadena. I went to go meet up with Mike Maxwell, who's an artist, and went to the Death Squad studios, was able to hang out a little bit, actually meet Brody and a bunch of the other comedians that were there. Then went into the Stage 2 area at the Ice House, which is the smaller, more intimate room, where I was able to see all the comedians, including Brody, perform. Got to see Brody's specific brand of comedy, where he's one of the most unique comedians that we could have ever have hoped to be part of comedy. And it was just a pleasure for me to be able to see him do what he does live. And I'm thankful that we have the internet was around, and, podcasts and social media and all of these things were around with Brody Stevens. So we have all these time capsules and moments with Brody to continue to enjoy his comedy, even though he's no longer here. It was just a crazy thing to see on social media, just see the outpouring of love that people have for Brody. It's crazy. And it's a weird thing because out of all the comedians, he's one I related to in that his family is he's from Southern California, but his mom lives out in the valley in Palm Desert. And, I at the time was living in San Diego and then moved to Denver, and now I'm back in the desert. So it's always kind of a weird comfort when you hear people talk about places that you've lived or you grew up. And it was one of those things one of those bonds, those loose bonds that I had with Brody Stevens. But yeah, to see that he passed away, committed suicide. It's just heartbreaking. Not only his story, but also Robin Williams' story and all the other people that, are overcome by depression and overcome by the weight and the just hopelessness that comes with being depressed. And I don't know. Well, first off, Sam Tripoli, another stand-up comedian, amazing comic, and just an amazing dude. He put together Brody Stevens Festival of Friendship. That's going to be taking place March 5th at the Comedy Store in the main room. Tickets are $30. All the proceeds go to Brody's family, as well as mental health awareness. So if you want to go see what I can only imagine be an amazing comedy show, very heartfelt comedy show, then I would highly recommend going out to L.A. on March 5th to the main room and getting tickets to see Brody Stevens Festival of Friendship that Sam Tripoli is putting on. And there's going to be, I can only imagine the best of the best comedians showing up to this, because Brody, being the comic's comic, was loved by so many people in the comedy community, that to see him go it's tragic. It's tragic, and there's really, I mean, awareness is great. Everybody knows about awareness. Everybody knows about the suicide hotline, but it's like so many of those tactics to help combat the problem that we have with depression in this country, I don't feel are that effective. I mean, for some people, for sure, it's definitely effective. But I know for me, when I'm in my most depressed, the last thing I want to do is reach out. I mean, when you're in that spiral, at least for me, I just want to be alone. I just want to hibernate and just, wait for it to pass, or just, maybe I'll die in my sleep. I don't know. But it's a problem that is definitely a complex issue that I hope somehow, some way, science will figure out a way to help people get through it and survive it, because it's something that not a lot of people survive. And it's sad that the people that bring us the most joy and the most comedy in this world can sometimes also be the most damaged and the most hurt and the most, going through the darkest times. It's just it's a frustrating and sad situation, and all I can say is that I'm thankful that we had Brody for as long as we did, and thankful that he was able to express himself and share who he was through all of the new media stuff. Thanks very much to Red Band and all the other people that were part of his journey and putting out who he was. I mean, aside from his show, Enjoy It, he did shows on the Death Squad Network. He did a show with Esther. I forget what it's called, but I mean, I'm sure if you just go to deathsquad.tv and search Brody Stevens and just watch everything that he's been a part of. He has a Periscope, one of his last Periscopes. I saw somebody tweet out, and it's him walking around town talking about getting back on medication and how he was off medication for 6 months and how getting back on it is a very difficult process, but him, hopeful and positive about once he gets through it, that it'll be helpful for him. And he had plans on doing festivals again. And it's just, it's really sad. It's really sad to be in a time where so many heroes of so many people are dying either from suicide or from overdoses, which I'm sure aren't very far off from the people that are, committing suicide. I mean, overdosing on drugs, I would imagine you have to be somewhat suicidal to just kind of let Kosh go in the wind. I don't know. But yeah, he also had a stand-up special that I highly recommend. I haven't even seen it, but I'm going to watch it. I didn't even know he had a special out. I think it came out fairly recently. Live from the Main Room at the Comedy Store, and that's the name of the special, is Live from the Main Room. But I highly recommend you check out everything that Brody's been a part of, and really, really celebrate the positive person he was. He was always trying to push for positivity. Enjoy it. Push. Believe. 818 till I die. Which a very true statement. And, Brody Stevens will be missed. And, much love to Brody wherever he is and whatever dimension he's in. And much love to everybody who loves Brody and who knew him and who's hurting right now. Trying to get through on their own a bit of depression that got it's an explosion of depression just coated the entire comedy community of LA, and it's just it's horrible. So rest in peace, Brody. Thank you for all of your laughter. Much love. That's it for this episode. I hope everybody has a wonderful day. Okay, just make the best of it. Peace out.